Good evening, France, and welcome to 9 o'clock news. Today is October 7th, 1830. I'm Lauren Worley.
And I'm Patrick Roberts. We just got an update on the developing story of our country's revolution. We just got a notification that radicals and liberals are standing outside the Versailles right now protesting against Charles X.
They are protesting for extreme change for their government. People are wanting the right to vote and freedom of press. Now to Oksana outside of Versailles.
Good evening, France. I am standing right now outside Versailles looking at all the protesters who are protesting against Charles X. Citizen Paul. Citizen Paul has agreed to be interviewed. Citizen Paul, how long have you been standing out here protesting Charles X?
I've been protesting for about 7 hours. We want change.
And what kind of change are you looking to get?
Well, we're looking for freedom of the press, and everyone needs to have the right to vote.
And do you think that both male and female should be able to vote?
Yes, I personally believe that both women and men should vote.
Thank you, Citizen Paul.
You're welcome.
And later, we just got breaking news. Charles X had just fled to England. After this break, we will have breaking news on whether the Republic will be formed or not.
Charles X promises to help the French country. He claims he will rule in the same manner as Louis XVIII, but really he limits the right to vote and limits the freedom of the press. Stand for a republic or fall with Charles X.
Welcome back, France, to 9 o'clock news on this October evening. Before the break, we just learned that Charles X has just fled to England because the rebellions were compromising his leadership position.
The outcome of his bad leadership was that suffrage only extended to wealthy citizens and the freedom of the press was censored to it, so that anything about the government will not be written.
Before the break, we promised to update you on the forming of the new republic. Since Charles X has fled, the radicals have taken over and put Louis Philippe in his place.
Louis Philippe has been called the Citizen King because this has been the first time in 20 years that the French people have had any say in their leader at all, their last being Napoleon Bonaparte. Thank you, France, and tune into 9 o'clock news for the next updates on the 1830 revolution.
So remember, I'm Lauren Worley.
And I'm Patrick Roberts. Good night.
Good evening, France, and welcome to 9 o'clock news. I'm Lauren Worley.
And I'm Patrick Roberts. We have an update on the Revolution of 1848, but first we will give all of our viewers an account of what has happened so far.
Since the Revolution of 1830, King Louis Philippe has ruled with very inconsiderate reforms. He has favored the wealthy class, and his foreign policy has not been up to par.
He has also limited suffrage to white males with land. Also, in the 1840s, France faced hard economic times. They had poor harvests, food prices doubled, and there was a lot of unemployment.
Because of King Philippe's horrible policies and economic troubles, people started becoming angry with the government, liberals, Bonapartists, and the Republicans all wanted Louis Philippe gone.
As a result of the secret political meetings held by opposition groups were taking place all over France, the meetings were disguised as banquets.
Things only became worse from here. A huge banquet was held in 1848. Louis ordered the gathering to be closed. I want to send you now to Ben Baker, a reporter on the scene, to give us more information.
Thank you, Lauren. I am currently standing outside the building where this banquet took place. Shortly after Louis closed the banquet, street protests took place all over the city. The next day, French troops fired on these protesters. Because of this, barricades were set up all over the city by the revolutionaries. Shortly after, King Louis Philippe abdicated from the throne. A republic was set up within 24 hours. Back to you, Lauren and Patrick.
Thank you, Ben. After this short break, we will tell you more about the French Revolution of 1848.
Realize that bread prices have doubled within the last 2 years. Here at Genevieve's Bread for Cash, we will buy your unwanted white, rye, wheat, or any kind of bread you own. Your unwanted bread is really weighing you down, and you can really get your money's worth. Hi, I'm Genevieve, and I'm your bread buyer. Call within the next 15 minutes and you will receive a brand new miniature French flag. Mention this ad and we will buy your bread for double what we would normally have bought it for. Call now.
Welcome back, France. Before the break, we learned that France fell apart when Louis Philippe ordered a banquet to be closed. After Louis abdicated from the throne, a republic was set up.
For a while, the republic worked fine. Political parties started forming. Only 25% of the National Assembly were working class. Because of this, the Assembly set up a 5-man executive committee whose members didn't support workers' rights.
Street protests set up by workers resulted and France soon became chaos.
What would soon become known as the Bloody June Days, the working class fought against the National Guard. By June 26, thousands were killed and many were arrested.
The Bloody Days broke the lower class, giving the middle class control of the government. They set up the Chamber of Deputies as the legislative house and a president and the executive power.
Elected by popular vote, Louis Napoleon became the first president of France.
After several years, Louis Napoleon declared himself Emperor Napoleon III. He would bring the demise of France.
Thank you, France, and remember to tune in to 9 o'clock news tomorrow for more news.
And remember, I'm Lauren.
And I'm Patrick.
And good night.
And liberals are standing outside the Versailles right now protesting against Charles X.
Dude!
We just... Whoa.
What happened?
Do you know how to read that word? That's a notification.
No.
What? Welcome back, friend. Before the break.
Okay.
What?
For their government. People are wanting the right to vote and freedom of press. Now to Alexana. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought Ben was reading my text messages.
We just got an update. I already messed up.